this video, we'll cover the different ways in which you can add content to the Readz canvas. The first way we'll look at is using the plus or add element panel, which you'll find on the left in the Readz Design Studio. Next, we'll look at using the drag and drop method for adding content directly from our desktops, and lastly, we'll look at copying and pasting. Let's get started by seeing how we can add content using the plus or add content menu. So on the screen, we'll see our Readz dashboard, which right now is completely empty. To begin a project, whether it be magazine, website, or online publication, we'll start by clicking Add Project. Now we see we have the option to use a template, but I'll show you how to add content to a completely blank canvas, so I'll choose that. Now we have a nice white canvas to get started adding things to. So first, I'll come over to this plus option in the left-hand side menu, the Add Elements menu. Here we can see all of the different types of elements we're able to add to the page. They're categorized into groups by their function. So at the top, we have structural elements, such as dividers, boxes, navigation bars. Then we have text elements. Then we have media elements, such as images and videos. Then we have forms, social media buttons, and lastly, more complicated options such as search boxes and iframes. So to add an element, I will click on it and drag onto the canvas. So if I want to add a box, I will click and drag and place it wherever I'd like on the canvas. Boxes always start out in the same style and same size, so I'll need to resize it and position as I want it. So this is the first way that you can add content to your canvas, and there's a lot here. Be sure to utilize all of the different options and try using this menu to add things such as structure, social media buttons, and navigation bars to your page. Next, we'll talk about how you can drag and drop content from your desktop onto the Readz canvas. As you can see, I have a few files here on my desktop. So to add one of these to my canvas, I'll select it from my desktop, drag onto the canvas, and simply let go. The great part about this is that the platform will automatically figure out what type of element I've dragged on and put it into the appropriate category. So since I dragged on an image, the image will automatically be formatted as an image element, and a video as a video element, and so on. So now I can move it around, for example, into this box and resize it as needed. Next, I'll drag in this text document. As we can see, it's automatically formed into a text box. So we'll bring this here to the center. Important to note is that when you import text, it may lose things such as line breaks, italics, and so on. So you may have to spend a little bit of time adding those things back in. So that's how we can add content by dragging and dropping from desktop. And lastly, we'll have a quick look at how you can add content by copying and pasting from other sources like websites, PDFs, Word documents, etc. So here we are back on our page. The first thing I'm going to do is make space for the content that I want to copy and paste. Now say I wanted to add something below my gray box and above my text box. I could just select the text box and drag it down. But if I have other elements beneath that text box, they would not be moving and I might mess up my layout. So an easy way to do this is to find the little half moon at the top of an element and click on that before dragging down. When I do this type of moving an element, it will move down all the other elements below it while keeping their spacing and layout unchanged. This is useful when you forget to add something at the top of a page or in the middle of a page and don't want to spend a lot of time selecting and dragging other elements below it. So now I'll grab some text from Wikipedia to use as an example. This content is copyrighted, so I'm not going to save it afterwards. So we'll select some text that we'd like to put into Readz. I'll press Command-C or Control-C. Then once I'm back in Readz, simply hit Command-V or Control-V, and the text will be inserted into a text box right on my page. And now I'll resize and make some more space for this text. Looks like I didn't make enough space. Drag down. Then I can select the text below, find the half moon, and drag down until it's equally spaced. Great, and now let's try copying just to see an image from our website. So I'll right-click, copy image. Back to Readz, we have to use Command-V or Control-V to paste. And as we can see, my image was inserted as an image element. Now I'll just position it nicely, and there we go. So we've learned how to add content in 3 different ways. From the Readz Add Content menu, by dragging and dropping from our desktop, and by copying and pasting.